Hello everyone. Today, I'm bringing you the product that has surprised me the most recently, a radiation-armored Beyblade from the Matrix family. Let's start with the conclusion. This spinning top not only surprised me. At the same time, I also think this might be the best spinning top for beginners recently. Why do I say this? Let's start by talking a bit about things beyond the product. Actually, from my personal perspective, I've never really approved of what we play called EDC, because the scope of EDC can be so broad, and the toys we play with are just a small part of the category. Similarly, I also don't really agree with the term stress relief toy, because we really don't play with these toys because of stress. If you insist on adding a prefix before these toys, I think the term tactile toy is actually very fitting. But if you use the feel your touch toy framework to land a race, pushrow and gyroscopes are the two largest categories within this concept. Interestingly, the audience for gyroscopes and pushrow machines is not completely overlapping, because there really are people who only play with spinning tops or only push and drain. But because these two major categories are so urgent, it's inevitable that they will be attracted to each other. Interestingly, Beyblade players find it relatively easy to get started and push ranks. But when push-ranked players want to get into Beyblade, you will face a threshold as high as a mountain. I'm not exaggerating. The threshold is truly as high as a mountain, because the push layout is simple and feels great with just one push, and gyroscopes only provide proper tactile feedback when spinning at high speed. And with one hand swinging at high speed, the spinning top is like learning to ride a bicycle. Learn to use chopsticks just like that. It requires practice. Learning to ride a bicycle is also good. Practicing with chopsticks is fine. They all exist to survive. Often, we learn these skills as children along with other survival skills. And as an adult, it's just for entertainment. So I practiced high-speed single-handed swing and dropping, but that drive was really lacking. So I often see push-cue players getting carried away on a whim, climbing the mountain called the spinning top, but soon gave up. Without high-speed rotation, there is no qualified feel. Without feedback to the touch, the spinning top feels especially dull. So many players who want to try gyroscopes, they kept getting stuck in this vicious cycle again and again. Today, Matrix's radiation gyroscope, I think this can greatly alleviate this problem, because he managed to do it at relatively low speeds. This allows you to clearly rotate the nails and feel rich. And with this multiple layers of feedback about the crispness of removing the armor, you're willing to play more. The more you play, the more you get more skilled. This is a positive cycle. Let's start by talking about Kaija. Opening the armor is actually very simple. Of course, you could say I've already played Flora to the skies. My approach might not be very convincing, so I used a relatively simple method. For example, I use my ring finger to pry it open, and it's easy to pry it open. I used my pinky to pluck again, just a gentle flick, because this posture is already very awkward. Can also be removed, making it really easy to pull aside. Of course, I can't guarantee that as a newcomer, you can completely clear it the first time, but with a little practice, 1 to 2 minutes trying to push through the radiation, the spinning top can be said to be very simple. Now, let's talk about the second point. Its rich turning feel. This is also where I got this spinning top. I found this the most surprising point. Once you peel it open, there are 6 beads inside. So when you turn it, you can enjoy the texture of the sesame and numbing beads that come from the collision of these beads, and this crisp and pleasant sound. This digital tactile feel is often only possible when the spinning top spins at high speed. But now, you only need a relatively slow speed to feel it. Of course, the speed was a bit fast earlier, so let's slow down a bit. Just slowly pulse it. Okay, this is the state that ordinary players might be able to clear through. Listen to this sound. This feedback stimulates you to release hair amines. Then you won't be able to stop peeling it over and over again. Finally, let's talk about collecting the armor. As you can see, its nails are very crisp and refreshing. Gualao defines it as internal open armor. As everyone knows, because our Coco gyroscope is also defined as an endome. Although my definition isn't exactly the same as old Gua's. But if you seek similarities while reserving differences, then this definition can be modified to, once you peel it aside, its entire rotational diameter, or rather, its volume hasn't changed. We can call this an internal open shelf. What benefits does it have? It's about when I force it to stop. My hands usually can't touch these nail tips, so the nail tip can be easily retracted and snapped with a quick snap. However, traditional external shelving shedding often occurs when forcing a stop. Actually, the first thing you'll encounter is the nail tip. It's like I grab the nail tip, making it hard to retrieve it smoothly. So the feedback from the harvest guard. The radiation is also very clear. Okay, of course there are some product details. For example, no matter the material, the plates are actually made of stainless steel. This body is made of aluminum alloy. The main body is stainless steel. The main body is made of titanium alloy. Since we're talking about materials, let's talk about the differences between materials and my personal choices. If we set aside the inexplicable prejudices people have about aluminum alloy among insiders, for the radiation product, I really recommend aluminum alloy the most. It is the cheapest, lightest, and most comfortable. You won't get tired of playing. Actually, the version I've played most so far is the green alloy version. And if you absolutely need a non-aluminum alloy material, in contrast, titanium alloy is the most balanced choice. The reason is actually quite simple. Besides aluminum alloy, titanium is the lightest material. As for stainless steel and the gang, I suggest that veteran gyroscope players consider it. Because the heavier the case, the harder it is to file a lawsuit. Of course, if you have the ability to sue, this feedback is also perfectly fine. Okay, let's summarize. If you want to get started with gyroscopes, this spinning top is actually one of the best choices. At the same time, this spinning top is crisp because of its open shells, and the finishing is crisp. The feel when turning is also rich. So although I am now, he's already considered a veteran of the Beyblade genre. But it still surprised me, and I just can't stop. If Old Gua further improved the exterior design, then it really is flawless. That's all for today's video. If you're interested in my videos, feel free to like, comment, and follow for new toys in the EDC community. Good toys. I always share them with everyone through videos as soon as possible. See you next time. Bye.